Hi, I'm Bill Corcoran Jr. This is the On the Stacks podcast.
Oh yeah, whoa, look, they can never keep me down, I'm going, and if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up.
It can't be possible that I don't have a recording voice. Yeah, I'm not 6'4" Adonis or whatever. And that's what I did. I just kept pursuing, and that's what you have to do. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have the desire and the ambition and the dedication to stay in this business. You can't do it if you're doing it halfway. You can't. You got to go straight ahead.
Today, I'm chatting with singer-songwriter, musician, and recording artist Bobby Arvon and Lorenzo Medico, performer, entrepreneur, and owner of ARTIC Entertainment. This episode is brought to you by the Pest Rangers. Finding insects in your home can be a real pest. I know I felt that way when I discovered termites living rent-free in my house. But thanks to the team at the Pest Rangers, I'm no longer bugging out over this issue. So if any creepy crawlers are cramping your style, there's no ifs, ands, or bugs about it. You gotta call the Pest Rangers. For more information on how to rid your home from unwanted pests, call the Pest Rangers today at 570-826-1114. Or visit them online at thepestrangers.com. This episode is brought to you by Kavanaugh's Grill, one of my favorite places to eat and drink in any PA. They've got one of the best outdoor patios with 13 TVs and over 20 beers on tap. You can also dine inside at this cozy Irish-style pub where your beer never goes empty. Did I mention how delicious their food is? Their in-house smoked brisket, barbecue ribs, and wings are to die for. So grab your friends and have a drink on me at Kavanaugh's. Mention code STACKS for one free draft beer with purchase of any entree when you dine in. Located at 163 North Main Street in Mountaintop, Kavanaugh's is open at 4 p.m. during the week and 12 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday during football season. Dine in today at Mountaintop's only Irish-style pub. This episode is brought to you by Burn, the fitness company behind the Today Show approved Burn Board. If I'm being honest, working out can be a real chore, especially as a new dad in desperate need of sleep and cardio. Burn is founded by NEPA native Jimmy T. Martin, and his Burn Board offers a low-impact core and cardio experience unlike anything I've done before. They have hundreds of on-demand workouts that are great for beginners, seasoned athletes, and out-of-shape podcast hosts who love supporting small businesses. My wife and I use it pretty frequently throughout the week, and it's honestly a great way to burn a ton of calories without burning a ton of cash. Not to mention, it's a great tool for skiers, runners, wrestlers, and hockey players. Jimmy is offering all On the Stacks listeners 15% off when they use the code STACKS15. Visit theburn.com today to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15 at checkout. Again, that's theburn, THEBRRN.com to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15. It's time to get on board today with Burn. What's up, podcast? It's Bill Corcoran Jr. here in the Blue Door Studio, protected by our friends at Ritchie Security Solutions. Bobby Arvon and Lorenzo Medico, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Bill. It's so great to be here, man.
Thanks, Bill. Yep, blast. Can't wait to do this.
Yep.
Excellent. And Bobby, we got to have you start the viewers off with a little show here.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. Wow.
Look
we
at that.
We can go further, but we got to wait for the show.
Let's go on the road. We'll go on the
We're
road.
pros.
All right. Okay.
Where's the next tour? Where am I going with you guys after this?
Vegas.
Vegas?
All right. We're going to go right for the top?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why even mix it around? Let's just go right to Vegas.
Why not?
I love it.
Why not?
Move over, Wayne Newton. We're coming through.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. I got to see my surgeon. Ooh.
Oh, okay. Wow. That was just a dig at Wayne Newton.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a great performer. That's not a bad thing.
Well, this is super exciting. I mean, Lorenzo, thank you for helping get this whole thing set up. There's a lot going on this week, and Bobby in town, and Marko Marcinko. I mean, just what a performance that we're looking at coming up this weekend, and it's just super exciting to have you guys here, and welcome home.
Welcome
home, Bobby.
Oh man, it's so good to be back. Scranton. Excuse me. I grew up in Scranton, my hometown. I left when I was 15 to go to Bridgeport, Connecticut. I went to high school there, but we always came back because Bridgeport, Connecticut wasn't that far. And I have a lot of roots. I have a lot of family here and a lot of friends. and a lot of memories, great memories here. Because I started off singing when I was a kid.
Yeah. Besides pizza, what's your best memory of NEPA in Scranton?
Well, I loved St. Lucy's Church because I remember performing there in the early days. I love the people. I love the pastas actually I love more than that. I love all the supersads, salami, provolone, all that stuff.
Manja.
Yeah.
You can't tell he's Italian, right?
Can't.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
Well, my grandfather used to take me around shopping with him, and I've never forgotten it because I'm the same way. He would go in and he'd start picking up. Say, "Mom, what's this?" He says, "Where's the fresh? I don't want this one. I want the fresh." He would give them such a hard time, and I'm notorious for that. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. My granddaughter, and we went in to buy a watermelon. So we bought the watermelon. I got it home. I cut it open. I didn't like it. So I called the store.
Was this here?
No, this was in Los Angeles,
okay.
in Granada Hills where I live. And I actually brought the watermelon back and got a replacement.
So was it just one slice in half?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, and
Not
I've done
good.
that. I've done that a number of times.
Yeah, it wasn't right.
If it's not right, I don't want it.
No,
I can't blame him.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. You gotta have freshness.
Yeah. And and you're asking about my memories of Scranton. The food is incredible there. Incredible. And Victor Alfieri Club is there, and big Italian organization since 1911. And my grandfathers and my father and all my uncles are all members of the Victor Alfieri, and it's great. And they're one of our sponsors.
Yes, they are.
Along with
Unico.
Unico.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that we were happy about that.
Awesome.
But great memories in Scranton.
Yeah.
Great memories.
On the Stacks, we'll be back in a flash after a word from our sponsor.
It's never an easy decision to place your mom or your dad in a nursing home. And one of the things that nursing homes will give you in the opening packet of documents is what's called an arbitration agreement. By signing this agreement, you're giving up your right to a jury trial, and that any case you have will be heard by an arbitrator. The law says that that is not to be a precondition to admission.
And now we're back on the Stacks. Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're gonna dive a little deeper into your background and your journey up until this point.
Sure.
Making the trip back here to NEPA to perform this weekend. But before we do, Lorenzo, why are we here today? I mean, tell me, talk about what's coming up.
So we have this show coming up on Sunday, December 4th, 7 p.m. at the KCCA Theater in Kingston at Wyoming Seminary. If you're not familiar with the theater, it's the Kirby Center for the Creative Arts, but not to be confused with the FM Kirby Center in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I know in the past I've done some shows there for NEPA Sings. We did some fundraisers for them, and it was excellent, but a lot of people got confused, and they ended up showing up at the FM Kirby Center in Wilkes-Barre. Let's not do that.
Don't get confused, people.
Do not get confused. This is the Kirby Center for the Creative Arts at Wyoming Seminary, 260 North Sprague in Kingston, Pennsylvania. And it is a beautiful place. Yeah. It's fairly new, pretty high tech. I mean, I think they opened it in 2014. So, look, we're really looking forward to this. I'm just extremely excited to have him and Marko working together. I mean, super talented guys. He's an absolute legend, of course. Well, he is.
He is a legend.
I mean, he is. I mean, come on, you laugh, but it's the truth. And Marko is an absolute genius too. So
yeah.
I feel very honored that I could actually, for my first show, to put this together. I'm just happy that I'm able to do it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Super exciting. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
ARTIC is on its way up.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and ARTIC is, if nobody knows, it's the name of the company that I started, and it stands for Art and Community, because to me the most important thing, and we were talking about this earlier when we went to dinner, family and community are the most important, and our area is so geared towards that, and I feel very lucky to have that, a big family, and you have a big family, and it means a lot. So. anything to do with the community, anything to do with bringing family together. And I think this show is going to be about that too.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And you know, another fun fact is that the three of us. Well, no, we've obviously know each other.
Yeah.
But we both, you and I, both met Bobby today for the first time.
that's
Even though
right.
you've known him,
That is the truth.
but today was the first I think I thought you guys like already had met. And you're walking in here, it's like we're all meeting here for the first time,
Well, yeah, we didn't even battle each other.
right?
Not
yet. Not yet.
Not
I
yet,
thought I was
not
going to
yet.
get angry at him and start slapping him around, but I didn't
Wow.
have to.
Yeah. Wow. See,
No,
first
he's
they
a-
were me. We'll see. The show. There's still time yet.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. I was just so pleased to meet Lorenzo on the phone and on text.
Yeah.
You know,
How did you guys originally meet?
Bobby,
Well,
you take that away, Bobby.
What's the story, Bobby?
Yeah.
I have a good friend, Jeff Piazza, who is a great chef. He has a Fort restaurant, is it called? Yeah,
Ford Cafe in 44. Mm-hmm.
Jeff, not only is a great cook, but he's like a huge, unbelievable fan of Happy Days.
I think the biggest.
Yeah.
He is. I
The
think,
biggest.
No, I'm serious. I think they did
Yeah?
some type of thing. He is like the biggest Happy Days fan of all time.
he is.
Yeah.
No,
It's pretty
true.
insane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I met Jeff through Jim McNulty, who was the mayor of Scranton. And Jim and I went to school together, grew up together, we were best friends. And so I guess somehow I was coming to town, and he said to Jeff, "Do you want to meet Bobby Arvon? He sang the Happy Days theme." Jeff went nuts. He said, "Oh, my God." Well, that's when I first met Jeff. And we hit it off, and we became friends ever since. And over the last couple of years or so, he's been, you got to come back and do a show. You got to do a show. Let me see what I can do. I said, okay, well, I'm always grateful to be back to Scranton to do a show. Last show I did here was at the Kirby Center and the Cultural Center in Scranton with the 61-piece symphony orchestra and Northeastern Pennsylvania's Philharmonic. So anyway, so he calls me. I guess he was out with Lorenzo, and he said, "I got the best guy in the world for you to put this together," and it was Lorenzo. And I said, "Oh, really?" And the minute I started talking with Lorenzo, you had me at the first hello.
Well, I appreciate that.
This is true love.
It's,
And we didn't even have to get a room.
there's,
Yeah.
there's flutters going on now. You can't see it, but there's a big beat
I
going
could, I
on.
could, I could feel it.
Yeah.
I thought something
It's
was
going, yeah.
vibrating here.
There's
Yeah.
resonation in here. Yeah.
So anyway, that's how it all started. That's
That's
how it
awesome.
started.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Super exciting because I know Lorenzo and I have been talking for a long time now, and he was telling me a while back. I think even before it even became like official, he was him and I were just talking here or there, texting, and he was telling me about what might possibly happen,
Yeah.
which is now happening. It's here.
It's wild. It's wild. And I mean, how many months ago was that, Bob? It had to have been, I don't know, a good 7?
Close to 6 months, I think.
6-7 months. So this
Yeah.
has been a long time in the making, and it's crazy that it's here.
Yeah, a lot of it was talking. We hadn't
A lot of it was
even-
talking it
we
through,
didn't put
yeah.
it together. We were talking about it, figuring how the best way to do it. And I said, "Well, Lorenzo, I got to leave it up to you. I know I haven't been back there for a while. You know the area. You know the places to use, for a theater and for us to perform." And that's how this all happened.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
We are here.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yes.
Super cool.
Yeah. Well,
So-
the reason why I came out here all this way is because he told me I was going to do an interview with you.
That is
That's
the
right.
truth.
Yeah. So really, you just came here for this interview, and you so happen to be doing a show.
Exactly.
This coming Sunday,
That's
right?
the real truth. Yeah.
So all right. So
Yeah.
Bobby, so 3.5 years old when you started singing.
3 years old.
Three?
The reason why
Three.
I'm saying that, I always thought I was 3.5 years old, but till I found an old article in the Scranton Times saying little Bobby Arvonio making his debut tonight at 3 years old on stage at this whatever the variety show was. So now I know I was really 3 years old, and I've got the article to prove it. But it was interesting because I had an interesting career. Starting off at 3 years old, and then it continued on. And my father was a singer, musician. He was a singer, guitar player, sax player, harmonica player, great singer, great entertainer. And my mother had a great voice. So they were all, behind me. And then my two brothers, well, at that time they weren't even born, but they have also become very, prominent singers and musicians. But my mother used to take me around to all the little variety shows, and that's how I remember. And then I don't. You're probably too young, and you're too young. But there was Tony Grant's Stars of Tomorrow. I think he was from Wilkes-Barre, and he had like a traveling troupe of all young people called Stars of Tomorrow. And I was with Tony for, I don't know, about 3 years at least, and we would tour all around Pennsylvania, and it was great. And then we ended up in Atlantic City. He had a show theater at the Steel Pier, and that was that. But through the years, I just kept singing and playing, and I learned how to play the piano, and it was a good start. And my roots really helped a lot. I have a family that was always supportive, and I think that kept me going, and it never gave me a big ego, though, seriously. Even though like it was, oh, Bobby, sing for us, but I never felt that I was, above everybody in my family. I always felt, like that's it. I was part of the family. It didn't mean anything to me. I was just a singer and doing my thing. So
yeah. So for as long as you can remember, I mean, really, you've been singing and performing, and I mean, like, some of your earliest memories, like you said, are just traveling and performing at that young of an age.
Yeah. It was fantastic. I loved it.
And only 27 years later, we're doing a show.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah, happy 30th.
Right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you look good for 30.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it was terrific. Yeah.
A little gray, but
you got more hair than both of us.
I was just going to say, that's why Bill and I are wearing hats.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm afraid to wear a hat because it ruins my hair.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
Yeah. Too bad for us.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right.
That's all right.
I'm sorry, guys.
We got stylish hats, though.
We have the hats, yeah.
So
it works.
Makes up for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're cool. You're cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bobby.
And Lorenzo, I mean, you too. I mean, you've been performing. You've been, part of this world for a long time yourself, too.
Yeah, I've been performing since I was a little kid. I don't know if I was 3. I don't really remember, how old I was, but it was a little different than Bobby. I was always into theater. So starting with the dramatic plays, straight plays, you call them, and then into musicals, which I really kind of gravitated toward. Even my vocal quality was more gravitated towards, musical theater and opera. And I think that was because of my mother, she is still my inspiration. But she was a big influence on my musical life, especially as a kid. Growing up listening to everything from Luciano Pavarotti, Barbra Streisand, Billy Joel, to Frank Sinatra,
Bobby Arvon.
Jeez, you almost missed them.
I mean, no, I was saving the best for last. But but seriously, that was it was a big influence on my life growing up. And the crazy thing about this, I'll do a little segue here. Speaking of my mom, unfortunately, I lost her years ago. It's going to be 17 years. On December 4th. Now, Bill, I didn't even know when I was booking the venue on the date. I had no idea. I tried to book it a couple weeks before, and we were looking at dates, right, Bobby?
Yeah, it actually got pushed back.
It actually got
pushed back. I remember.
You're 100% correct. And the reason, there were a bunch of reasons, but for whatever reason, it worked out to be December 4th. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. And about 2 weeks after I booked it, I called my sister, Tatiana. Her and I are very, very close. And I called her, and she started crying on the phone. I said, "Why are you crying?" And she told me, she goes, "Oh my God, that is when Mommy, that's when she passed away." And I'm getting emotional now, but it was really tough for me to go through all that. But right now, I know that this is meant to be, especially as the first time putting something like this together. Again, I've been on stage, but I've never produced anything. What do I know about that? So I'm just trying to put all this together for the first time, and I think it worked out how it was supposed to. So
has it hit you yet?
No. And I can't wait for the show, but I already miss it because I know when it's over, it's over. But I'm so looking forward to just seeing you perform. I mean, I can't wait for that. And I just want to see everybody having a good time in the audience. With the whole thing with COVID, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's great to be back, and
yes, it's good to have people
see live entertainment.
Exactly right. Yeah. So that was another reason why I wanted to start this company, because again, like I keep talking about community, our area is so based in that. I think we need to get back to that, getting everybody together and enjoying something. And what's better than food or music? So I don't want to open a restaurant. So I'd rather be in the music realm. So so that's how I came to this story and how I'm doing this show. Yeah.
Well, I was like thrilled to be able to do this because I wanted to get back to Scranton. I think the last time I did perform here was with the Philharmonic, like I said, here at the Kirby and also the Cultural Center of Scranton. So it was a thrill for me to be back. And there's a lot of highlights in my career. One of the big highlights is doing with the symphony here. It was phenomenal, and I'm sure that this is going to be a highlight for me to work with Marko Marcinko and the how do you say that again?
So the Scranton Jazz Fest Big Band. By the way, Emmy nominated.
Yeah.
So they were nominated for an Emmy Award. I believe it was last year. But these guys, I've heard half of these guys play. I mean, they're as good or better than any musician you're ever going to hear on any record or live or anything like that. These guys are they're phenomenal musicians.
Yeah, I've heard that from numerous people. Yeah. And of course I've known Marko was a kid when I met him. He was like 20 years old or something, and he did an arrangement for me of Pagliacci. And he remembers it, and I said I should have brought it with me because I still I don't use it much, but because it's a different type of thing but I did it for the Italian Festo down in Scranton.
How does that go again, Pagliacci?
Ricci the Pagliaccio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that was fun. But so it's good to be doing it back in Scranton. I mean, I have a zillion relatives here. We had a party. It's the annual Arvonio Christmas party, and seriously, there was I think it was over 70 people, 28 kids, so the rest were adults, and we had a phenomenal time. It was phenomenal, and I have a picture of it, and the whole bit. It was just great. And then back home, I have about 28 in my family back there in our family, but someday I would love to get both, but that's impossible. To get both families together, it would be unbelievable.
Well, if anyone can make it happen, this guy right here.
Well, maybe I'll have Lorenzo put it together.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'll start producing family reunions next. Great. That's good. Here.
Yeah.
Get everybody together.
Let's get them together. East and
What
West
could go?
Coast.
What could go wrong?
Oh no, nothing.
Yeah.
But when I left Scranton, and I was terribly upset about leaving Scranton. But fortunately, Bridgeport, Connecticut was not that far. So we were able to come back all the time to Scranton and, visit the family, and the family would come visit us. And so it turned out to be, really, really good. So I wasn't, after a while I got used to it. But my roots are Scranton. I'm always a Scranton guy. I'll always be a Scranton guy, It's not like somebody who left when they were 7 years old or something, or 5 years old. I was here. And it was great upbringing. I mean, you can't ask for this area to have a better upbringing. You're grounded. I don't know how it is now. I don't. It may have changed. It always changes a bit, no matter where. But it was a grounded situation. I mean, when you talk about happy days, it was happy days then. And when I went to Bridgeport, that was happy days. When I was in high school, I mean, we drive down the center street with the convertible and the top down and, waving and picking up chicks, the whole bit. But I didn't sing Happy Days because we didn't have it then.
Not yet.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So all right, it's a little bit about your career. So, I mean, at what point, how old were you when, obviously you were super young when you started this and you really just kept performing.
Right.
But at what point did you kind of get to that next level?
I think it was when a disc jockey in Bridgeport became a big fan of mine, a real supporter, and I wasn't doing anything major in those days. I had a little jazz trio, and I started off in jazz really, and it evolved into other things, but which I'll discuss later. And he said there's a band leader called Larry Elgart of the Les and Larry Elgart Orchestra, and he said he needs a singer. He said, and I told him about you. He said, you want to come down and meet him? I said, sure. So we went down to New York, and he had this beautiful penthouse apartment, with a baby grand. And so I went in there, and we were introduced. So he said, well, can you sit at the piano and sing? Because he knew I played piano, too. I said, sure. So I sat down, and I played, I think it was called Little Girl Blue or something, whatever. And he said, I finished. He says, "What are you doing Saturday night?" Honest to God.
It's phenomenal.
And that was.
And how old were you?
I was probably 19, something like that. Yeah. I was around 19.
So not that long ago, right?
Right. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we
no.
established he's 30, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so
11
about-
years.
About 11, yeah.
So that's how my career started. And from there, I went on the road with him, and then I got my first recording contract. And I got that through Richard Berkey, who was Bobby Darin's conductor and piano player. And at that time when I met him, he and Bobby, after all the years, they were in high school together, had a band together. He had broken up with Bobby. They had some kind of a disagreement. And it was after a lot of years. He was through all the hits and everything. And so he said, the way I met him was I needed an arranger to orchestrate a couple tunes. Somebody told me about him. I got together with him. We clicked right away. He brought me to see Bob Thompson at MTA Records, who had produced Take Five, Dave Brubeck, and he was president of the label. And so I ended up, signed through Dick Berkey, signed me, and then we had our first album called New Man in Town. And it was interesting. If you ever look it up, New Man in Town, I'm standing there in a great James Bond kind of thing, the tuxedo and the slick hair, and a chick on my shoulder, and she's like hanging on my shoulder. The bottom line is she was about 5'8", 5'9". She was a model from a car commercial. I was standing on a box.
I knew something. I knew he was going there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a true story. But anyway, that was my first album, and I got a little mileage on that. Didn't have a hit or anything, and that kind of spawned my recording career. But it's difficult because, and I want to speak this to younger entertainers. I was telling you how the family always had me, pushed up. Hey, you're wow, great. So I go to New York for the first time, and I was introduced. Somebody told me about this agent they wanted me to meet, so I went in and met this guy. It was like out of the movies. This guy sitting there with a cigar, hey kid, like what do you got,
What do you got for me?
Yeah, and I had like some kind of a little demo. I don't know. In those days, it was like not even a 78. It was something else, and I played it. And he said, "Well, kid," just like that. "Well, kid," with the cigar. He said, "Well, you're not a 6'5" Adonis, And he says, "And you don't have a recording voice." He said, "I don't know. I don't think I can do anything with you." Well, I mean, I was crushed. That was the first time I had ever heard somebody say that negativity to me. I went outside, true story. I sat on the curb on, I think it was 8th Avenue, 7th Avenue in New York. And tears came down a little bit, and then I just got myself so worked up. I just stood up and said, that I can't listen to him. It can't be possible that I don't have a recording voice. Yeah, I'm not 6'4" Adonis or whatever. And that's what I did. I just kept pursuing, and that's what you have to do. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have the desire and the ambition and the dedication to stay in this business. You can't do it if you're doing it halfway. You can't. You got to go straight ahead. And you guys know that,
Yeah.
in both of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so so I continued on. I was very fortunate. And then, as I say, I signed with MTA Records after that.
Who was a part of that MTA, Bobby?
Pardon?
Who was a part of that record label? You're saying who started that?
Oh, no, not that.
That was
one.
different.
That was another one.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was called New Man in Town. Then I went up to, I got a gig up in Halifax, Nova Scotia, singing and playing piano with I had a jazz trio in those days. And I met this beautiful Canadian girl.
Hey.
And it was like, I could not believe it when I met her, And so eventually, the story goes, we fell in love, we got married, had kids. I lived in Nova Scotia for a while in Halifax. Then I got a call from Harry James, the old Harry James. You guys are too young to remember. And I joined him for 3 years. And the first thing we did, he said, "I want you to stay on this band." So I said, "Okay." And then he said, "But you got to live in L.A." I said, "I don't know if I want to do that." And one of our friends was Denny Doherty of the Mamas and Papas. He was from Halifax and good friends with my wife. And he would come back to Halifax, come over our house, visit. Bobby, you got to come to L.A. and freak out. I said, Denny, it's not my thing,
Freak out.
Freak out.
Yeah,
right.
freak out.
That's how they
So,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I don't want to get long-winded on this. But anyway, so I stayed with Harry. And then the first gig we got, before we got to home, what became our home, Los Angeles area, went right to Vegas. And you know what a thrill that must have been for me to go right to Vegas. I was about 22, 20, something in the early 20s. And got to Vegas. And in Vegas in 1969, it was like, you had everybody going. Steve Martin, Sinatra, Elvis, Barbra Streisand, everybody. And the theater that we worked was at the New Frontier. And we worked at like a theater, almost like a lounge theater, but it wasn't a lounge. It was still a big theater. And the main theater was, was Jimmy Dean. Before he became Jimmy Dean Sausage.
The sandwich. I was gonna say.
Yeah, Jimmy
I was
Dean sausage.
I was thinking that, and I was
Yeah.
like, no, this can't be. This can't be. I didn't want to embarrass myself.
Was Jimmy Dean a singer, Bobby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He had an act. He did. And
So he doesn't just make good sausage.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
I don't think he made them then. He was still singing. Okay. So,
I'm pretty sure he doesn't make them either, but
Yeah.
well, he's long gone.
Yeah,
But
yes,
he was a
yes,
nice
yes.
guy. But what really got me was when I went to see his show, and it was a good show. And in the middle of his show, he started talking about his mother. He talked about, and all of a sudden he got really emotional, really emotional. I said, wow. I said, that's really something. I went to see him another night, same spot, same time, talked about his mother and got emotional. It was like
So that was his show.
It was
scripted. Wow.
Yeah.
Busted.
But anyway, so that was a good one. And it was interesting because we were there for a month. And we stayed at like an annex to the hotel, the guys that were in the show. And next to Judy and I and the kids was Stiller and Mira, Jerry Stiller and Ann Mira and their kids. So I always remind my kids, I said, one of you played with Ben Stiller.
That's right.
Yeah, because they were all around the
Wow.
same age. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
But it was great.
That is wild.
Yeah, and the thing that I wanted to see for the first time was I didn't know if I was going to get any billing, because it was Harry James Orchestra, and so we got up that morning of the show, and I went around the side of the building and I peeked up, and there it was, Harry James Orchestra featuring Sonny Payne and Bobby Arvon. Oh man, that was like heaven. I couldn't believe it. Then I got nervous. Oh my God, I'm in Vegas. My name's up there, But it was great. And Frank Sinatra Jr., I found out, was in the wings when I went out to sing, because he had heard about me and heard that they said, oh, he's like a young Sinatra, that kind of thing. And he was out there. It was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is super cool.
Yeah, he didn't come up to me though, rest his soul. But he was, it was pretty interesting stuff. Yeah, it was interesting, and that got us from there. We went right to L.A. We hadn't even moved yet to L.A., and then that's when we went right to L.A. And then that started a whole different phase of my career, which we can talk about whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, I think that might be a good segue. Segue into the next phase.
Yeah.
Next phase was really interesting. I started off, I was still with Harry James. We were touring, but not like every week, not like that. And so I had to find something else to do. And Judy inspired me to start writing songs. I said, I'm not a songwriter. She said, well, write me a song, And so I wrote a song. I think the first song I wrote was called I Need You Here at My Side All the Time. That was the name of it. And every song that I started was about Judy and my relationship with Judy. And this is a true story. I mean, I don't want to sound too over romantic, but it was, whether it was love lost or how would it feel if she left me for somebody else, it's all that kind of thing. And it was good. Then I got off on a tangent to some other areas, of course, but that became a unique experience for me as a songwriter starting off. And So I met an agent and said, well, can you do a piano bar? I said, what? I mean, I'm singing with an 18-piece orchestra. I'm gonna go,
Can I do a piano bar?
I'm going to do a piano bar, you know? And she said, yeah, I got this place. It's called Derek's. I said, okay. She said, well, why don't you come down and see it and see what you can do? I said, okay. So now I walk in, and Sally Struthers was one of the owners. She was on All at the Family at the time. And we met, and we hooked up, and she was just a wonderful gal. But I didn't know if I could do it. So I sat at the piano, sang a few songs, and she said, well, can you handle like a whole night? I said, well, I think so. I know, you know, give it a shot. Try it. I said, okay. Best thing I ever did, because it started me off in a phase of singer-piano player, alone, no band. And that club became like a real stepping stone for me, because I met, you know, a lot of celebrities, a lot of performers and things like that. It was just a great experience. I mean, I met Alice Cooper there, who I was invited to join his table, and he said, hey, do you know any Bacharach? I said, you mean Burt Bacharach or the game?
Or the game.
Yeah. Oh
Right.
my God.
No,
Talking
and
about Baccarat, yeah.
I was shocked, and
Yeah.
you know, Alice Cooper saying that. And I met Ringo Starr there. I forget who else. Well, then I met Cary Grant, George Burns, a whole bunch of people. It was great, and they were all kind of supportive and everything. And then I started my songs. I started bringing my songs around, and I made I signed with Screen Gems as a songwriter. A couple of people started recording songs here and there, and that started off my songwriting career. Then I got an offer to do sign with MGM, which was owned by Mike Curb at the time, and that was my first recording in Los Angeles as a songwriter. And I recorded a couple of things. It was okay; they did well, but nothing great. And so I kept on doing. I started with the clubs, then I got out of that, and then I met David Foster, and through Umberto Gatica, a great engineer, and recorded a couple things with him. And I won the American Songs Festival with a song I did with him called "Later On," which I composed, and that was a good coup for me.
And aside, really quick, David Foster, if not everybody knows, David Foster is the guy who produced Andrea Bocelli. He produces Michael Bublé, produces Josh Groban. He produces some pretty incredible vocalists. Celine Dion. He has another one, Catherine McPhee, who I believe he's married to.
Oh, yeah.
Who's now Catherine Foster. Yeah, so this guy is an absolute legend, too.
That's like marrying your granddaughter.
Okay, I'm lost.
She's so young.
She is
Oh,
young.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
how old is David Foster?
He's got to be late 70s.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
See,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
okay, I thought he was in his maybe early 60s.
No way.
Okay, so he's in his late 70s.
No, he's
Okay.
in his 70s.
Well, yeah.
In fact, he was surprised. I just saw
Pretty
him
incredible.
in Phoenix. And he says, I can't believe it was 40 years ago we met.
That's insane.
I said,
Wow.
I couldn't believe it, But anyway, no, so my recording career started. But the biggest break I had was when I got signed to First Artist Records, which was owned by Barbra Streisand, Dustin Hoffman, Steve McQueen, Sidney Poitier, and Paul Newman. So if we have time, I'll tell you my...
So many legends.
I mean, like, these names,
Yeah.
these groups, these people he's around. Yeah.
I met a couple of them, but only to meet. Like, like Steve McQueen, just say hello, that kind of... So I go into... we have time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got the call from the record company president. He said, meet me in the Blue Room. That's what they called it, their dining room. And it was on the Warner Brothers lot, which is where, because they had a movie company called First Artist Movies, but then they wanted a record company, and that's how that started. So I pull up to the gate, and you got a guard booth. So, Mr. Arvon, yes, he said, listen, why don't you pull over there, Mr. Newman's spot? And I said, no way.
Right, they just signed him. I'm going to park him Paul Newman's spot.
Rookie move.
Right.
Yeah.
So he said, no, he's not coming back till about 3-4 days from now. He's away. I said, you sure? He said, yeah. He said, yeah, go over there. So now you pull into Paul Newman's spot, and you're against a wall, like here, right? And it's that big sign, don't park here, this means you. right? So I'm looking at this thing, and it's like one of the old World War II things, something about that. It was like that kind of a thing. So I go in, and I'm sitting down. We're having lunch. Next thing you know, a secretary comes out, and she whispers in the record company president's ear. And he starts to smile. He looks at me, and he says to her, "Tell Bobby." And she said, "Oh, Mr. Arvon, I'm so sorry, but Mr. Newman pulled in, and he's furious that somebody was in his spot."
Oh, you didn't tell me this story.
No,
Oh my God.
Oh, this is good.
So I'm going, oh no, my God, So I said, I'll go out and move it. How could you not be,
Right.
So I went out. Honest to God, I go out and there's a note on my windshield. "Can't you read anything but music? Signed, Paul."
Please tell me you still have that.
Yeah, somewhere I can't find it.
oh
It
my
should be
God.
it should be on my wall with all my other.
Yeah, that's classic.
That is classic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I get back to the table and
So you moved the car.
oh God.
He ended up moving it, I'm sure.
I don't know where I moved it to. I didn't even know how I drove it. I was so nervous.
He definitely moved it because he still stayed signed. So yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't even remember.
Right.
Traumatized.
Right.
So I go back in, and Gary, the president of the record company, says he wants to meet you. I said, "Oh God, he wants to meet me." I said, "Okay." So they took me up to his office, and there's the secretary, and then you had the big foyer, and then his office. The door was open to his office, so I was alone. They said, "No, go in." Gary said, "No, you go." I walk in. He's standing there in the middle of his office, and he has his hands in his pocket, and he's going, "You liked my note, did you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm so sorry." "Don't worry about it." He said, "You got a great record. I love the record." And we chatted, and it was wonderful. He was just such a sweetheart, great guy. Now I'm it gets better. So now I'm performing at the Saloon in Beverly Hills. And it was like a room. I had a great time there. It was another heavy-duty room. And so I get a note saying, "Mr. Newman would like you to join him at his table," because they had a separate dining room. This was the other place where the entertainment was. So I said, okay, well, who's Mr. Newman? But high-endy people went in there, so I figured, well, I better go in. So I go in there, and it's Paul Newman, Joanne Woodward, and I think one of their children. It was a daughter or whatever. And he says, "Come on, sit down," and introduced me to his wife. And I'm like in awe. Paul Newman, and his wife, Joanne Woodward, one of the great actresses.
Yes.
And that was one of the most interesting experiences I ever had, as far as meeting people and stuff. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And then the record went on the charts. It was called Until Now, which was the name of the album. It went on the record charts. I think in Billboard it went to around 72, something like that. In Cashbox it actually went up into the 60s. So it was fairly successful. It wasn't where I would have liked it. And Casey Kasem, who I knew at the time, at that time he wasn't like pushing new records. He said, "Bobby, if that goes top 40, he says, I'm all over it." But it didn't get there, unfortunately, But, that's the business. You can't say, "Oh, I could have, should have," or if only. If you do that, it's self-destructive. You can't let that go, happen to you. So that was exciting. I was on the Dick Clark American Bandstand show, and Dick Clark, wonderful guy, and numerous shows. So it was fun. And I forgot to tell you one thing. When I was in Halifax, I did a lot of radio and TV shows up there with the CBC. I became very involved with CBC. I hosted my own TV show, a couple of episodes of that, and radio shows. And Anne Murray hadn't even come to the States with a hit record yet, and she and I were doing shows together and stuff like that. And then I hated giving that up to go on the road, but I really needed to branch out. So it was an interesting career, interesting life, and still is.
Yeah, still is. I hope you're going to talk this good about me on the next, whatever show you're on next.
Right.
I hope you're going to name drop me as,
Who are you?
What show are we on? Where are we? No, it's just all that stuff is just so interesting. It's so interesting to me, and I always just find it. I'm always just very fascinated by, musicians, entertainers, and your ability, both of you, not just one of you, but both of you, your ability to create and perform at the level that you do.
Right.
All that is just so fascinating to me.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter even if you over time, I've learned to just appreciate just music and arts more, and
By doing what you do.
yeah, and even everything, like any artist, like seeing somebody perform live,
Right.
and knowing how much work went into doing what they're doing.
Thank you.
It's unbelievable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of sometimes take it for granted, I think, right?
Yeah.
But let me.
But
tell
you're
you
never
something.
more alive when you're on stage.
No,
Right?
no,
Isn't it
no.
an incredible feeling?
It's the
It's
most
very freeing, right?
exciting feeling.
Yeah, what is it like for both of you? What is it like?
For me, it's
You
super
first.
liberating. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this before the show started. We were talking about, are we extroverts or introverts? A little bit of both. I mean, you have to be somewhat of an extrovert to perform, even to do this. This is extremely creative too.
Yeah,
So
oh, God,
it's
yeah.
just a different realm of creativity, but it's still, you have to be creative to do this. So, in that sense, it's extremely freeing to let all of the introvertedness out on stage, and it's, again, I keep saying that word liberating, but it is liberating because when you're singing, like you mentioned this earlier, it's nerve-wracking right before a performance. And anybody who tells you that it's not, I don't believe them. It's got to be nerve-wracking, or you don't care. You got to have that passion. You got to have that drive.
Passion.
Right? And when you get on stage, all the nerves, for me, and I'm sure you're the same way, they go out the window. Because now you're there. You don't see the audience.
You're in the moment.
You're just in the moment, right? And then when the music starts playing, whether you have an earpiece or not, you better know your pitch, and you just go out there and you perform, and that's it. And you leave it all out, just like an athlete. You leave it all out on the court, you leave it on the golf course, whatever it may be. For me, that's how it's always been, and that's why I love it so much.
Well, same here. I mean, it's that magic moment when you're standing backstage and you look out, whether it's 100, 200 people or whether it's 2,000 people, which I've done some of those shows, and you just say to yourself, I can't wait to get out there. Mm-hmm. Now it's I've never had stage fright. There's a difference in stage fright and anxiety and excitement and enthusiasm and anxious to be out there, and that's a whole different ballgame. One of the entertainers I worked with way back, it was a girl violinist, and I don't know how we got talking about walking on stage and feeling like not insecure, but like, is it going to go well?
Right.
Yeah. And she said to me, I think she had written a book, as a matter of fact, and she said, you've got to stop and think. Imagine yourself on the stage. You've done your shows, and people are cheering or standing or whatever. And she said, and then once you hit that stage, it's going to be great. And something? That worked for me.
I like that.
That really worked for me.
Yeah.
You just envision yourself on that stage. It helped me a lot through the years, in doing it. But performing, nothing better for me. Well, I mean, look, nothing better for me than performing. The other side is, of course, as a songwriter, writing a song and developing a song. I look back on some of my songs that I've written when I was younger, and I'm going, how the heck did I write that? Where did those words come from? It's the melodies I could figure are a little easier, but to write lyrics to me was like, I don't know. I can't describe, and I've only written about 3 songs with collaboration with someone else, but so I look at these lyrics. So what I want to do is put them all together in kind of a book and leave it for my grandkids, my great grandkids, or whatever, so that they have this, so they know what I was about, what I was thinking, and what my mentality was, what my thoughts were, what my passion was. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Of course, yeah. And it's funny, you said we met today, which we did, but we were doing a bunch of things today. I was taking him around the area. He hasn't been back in a while, and I'm showing him the Wilkes-Barre side and Kingston and that whole area. And I took him to a specific building, and he was kind of blown away by it. It is pretty cool. It's the Choral Building. David has a really cool building. It's pretty engaging. It's off the wall. It's pretty artistic, incredible. Speaking of creativity, But he sits down at the piano because he has like 5 pianos strewn about this building. He sits down at the piano, doesn't say a word, and I just turn my camera on, just, whatever. Let's just see what happens. He starts playing this song, and I'm like, damn, this is really good. Like, really good. And I'm trying to, I'm waiting for the hook so I can chime in, because I know a lot of the old tunes. I know everything from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. That's part of the stuff that I love. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I'm like, God, this song is so good. He finishes the song. You had a little audience there that just started to gather. Finishes the song, and I go, what song? I can't think of it. I've heard this before, but this is genius. What is this? He goes, well, it's mine. I go, what? I said, that's your song. You wrote that song. This is brilliant. Why is this not on any of your albums? And he goes, well, I never released it. So to what he's talking about, he probably has a multitude of songs like that are phenomenal. I mean, that could be relevant today, that would really, really work.
And they're in the vault.
Right. So that's just talking about the songs that you write. I'm always blown away by that because it's extremely difficult to sit down and write a song. And I'm always, seriously, I'm thrown by guys who can sit down and actually get pen to paper or however you do it and write a song like that has quality, that you believe the lyrics, that tells a story. It's amazing to me.
See, you're saying what I was thinking. I don't know. Right. I don't know how. And I'll tell you one thing. There's a song called Later On, which I wrote, and that's the one that Foster was involved with. And I won the American Song Festival, first prize, easy listening, professional division. And so after this all happened, then they have a big, not a meeting, but a get-together. And they had young songwriters and all kinds. And we're all sitting in a panel. And Bruce Hornsby, by the way, won first prize, easy listening, amateur division at the time, which is a great guy, by the way. And so we're sitting there, and everybody's popping out questions to various writers. And so one guy raised his hand. He said, Mr. Arvon, I'd like to ask you a question. I said, sure. And he said, how did you happen to write a song without a rhyme? And I looked at him, and I said, the only way I could say that or describe it is the fact that I didn't know it had a rhyme, didn't have a rhyme. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I just wrote the song. It flowed. I didn't say, oh, it's got to be Moon, June. I mean, some songs, obviously you do.
Right.
But that one just flowed, and so I went home. I got the lyrics out. I said, I got to see what the hell he was talking about.
So that's the first time you noticed that it didn't rhyme.
Yeah.
Well, if you think of most songs or poems, they always rhyme.
Yeah.
That's
typically. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
I think the writing thing is so fascinating, you know, and Bobby, for you, your wife, as you said earlier, was a big part in encouraging you to start writing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
No, because I had never thought about being a songwriter, at all. And she's the one that inspired me to do it. Yeah.
So she's been very supportive and very heavily involved with your career, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then she helps me with the shows, like a production manager, and she works with me, makes sure I tries to keep me in line, because I'm a kind of a scattered type person. I can sit down and do one thing and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I got it, and then it's like, that's the way I am. She tries to let me to stay grounded and focused and organized. Are you kidding me? I'm the most disorganized person.
I think us creatives are.
I was just going to say the same thing. Can we thank all of our wives for that?
You took the words right out of my mouth, and I've said this on other episodes before, but I think it's so important to acknowledge, having a supportive spouse.
Gosh.
I do. Obviously,
do
I know. I know both of you do too.
Yeah.
But honestly, if it weren't for her and her support, I wouldn't be sitting here.
100%.
You know what I mean? Honestly.
That's beautiful, because I never thought
you wouldn't have written the song.
No, I wouldn't.
Right?
Have,
and I would have never followed through with this, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
She pushed me to do it.
Awesome.
In her own way, and it was great.
And I haven't met her yet either.
I know, and she's dying to meet you. You've talked to her on the phone a couple of times.
She's a sweetheart. I could tell right away. It's like when I talked to Lorenzo on the phone, I never met him. We
already loved him.
It was like I've known him all my life. And then when I saw him today, it was like, whoop, we just
It's like you've known each other for the whole 30 years you've been alive.
Right, exactly.
So here's my question. So Bill, tell us about yourself. How long did you start in this business?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Great question.
You've been good.
So I'll give you the it's a long story, but I'll keep it short. So it was actually
that's all right. I'm long-winded too. So
all right,
yeah.
So 4 years ago, I started, before this was a thing, before it became a podcast, and where the name comes from, On the Stacks. I just started, my family, we have a printing company in Wilkes-Barre, just 5 minutes over the bridge.
Oh, really?
And one time I just took a picture of myself just sitting on a pallet of paper. It was actually envelopes, the first photo. But I took a picture, just, a goofy photo, me sitting back, just goofy, sitting on a pallet of envelopes. And I just posted it, and it was just like kind of a little behind the scenes thing, and it was just whatever. I just shared it on Facebook, and people thought it was like cool to see like a little behind the scenes manufacturing, in a manufacturing, facility. And so I did that, and then it was like, wow, people thought that was cool. So I was like, I got a little excited about it because people were like interested in what I was doing.
Sure.
So naturally you kind of then go follow that. So I shared another photo, and then people started commenting like, hey, can I come do that? And I'm like, do what? And people are like, can I come? And then one person, I'll never forget, I think I might have told on one of the last episodes, but somebody messaged me. His name was Mark, and he was an old sales manager of mine. Mark Harris, shout out to Mark. He messaged me, private messaged me, and said, hey, and this is where the name comes from. He said, can I come jump on dem stacks with you? Right? So those were his exact words.
Uh-huh.
And
this is cool.
Yeah, so there's pallets of paper, like this.
Right.
So like this is just a pallet of paper,
Yeah.
right?
Stacks.
So I never called them stacks. We never called them stacks, and obviously they're way bigger than this. We were on them and over there in the other room, but they're just pallets of paper. And he said dem stacks, and so I was like, okay. So I was like, I don't know why this is so fascinating to you and to 50 other people, but sure, come get your photo. He's like, I'll buy you lunch. Let's catch up, whatever. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, come on in. Took the photo with Mark, and kind of the rest was history, because after I posted one photo with just me and somebody else that had nothing to do with anything, it was just like, hey, this is Mark, and here's who he is. And I just put like a couple little sentences, a little paragraph. And then everyone else started that messaging me like, hey, can I come do that? Can I come do that? And I just told everybody yes. It didn't matter. If anyone asked, I just said yes. And I just built like a list of like 50 people, like right off the bat. And then, so for a whole year, all I did was just post a photo like we took earlier, right? Yeah. Before coming on, I just would post one or two photos of just me and you, and I would just say, hey, this is Bobby, this is what he does, real short and simple. And I did that for a whole year.
Yeah.
For a whole year there was no podcast, right?
Really?
And just posting the photos, then Darren got involved, the photos got better, people brought cool props, and it got a little crazy, but fun crazy, right?
Sure.
So, and it became like a free little marketing plug for you as the person, coming on. And a lot of them happen to be like, not all business owners or business people, but a lot of them entrepreneurs, community leaders, those type of people. And people just started saying like, hey, we need to hear more. Like we need to, like, this is cool what you're doing, a couple sentences, but like you have something here, and we need to hear more from these people. Like, who are these people? Because I would just have interesting people. I'd have people dressed like executives in suits. Then I'd have people, casual jeans, hat, T-shirt. I had the run of the mill, didn't matter. We got the vest here, the music vest, the whole bit. I had everything, right? So it didn't really matter. I didn't like focus on just one person, one industry, nothing like that. And so it had a lot of character and different personalities involved. So people are like, we want to hear from these people. And I'm like, well, how do I, I'm thinking to myself, well, how do I do that? And so people are like, start a podcast, start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, well, the easiest and fastest thing, I didn't know anything about this stuff, was I'll just start just an audio only podcast.
Right.
So after a whole year of just those photos, almost once a week for a whole year, then I started just the audio version of this show that we're on right now. And so the audio version went for 2 years, for like 199 episodes. And then episode 100, which was like the 2-year anniversary of the show, but at this point, 3 years of the brand, right, on the stacks. 3 years of the brand. Then I introduced full video, which is what we're on right now.
Right.
So then full video comes into the picture at episode 100, and now this episode is 136, and do one a week, record one a week.
I feel honored.
Yeah,
you should. Yeah, I feel honored too. Yeah, absolutely.
So
let me ask
crazy.
you though.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you put a show? You say, okay, I'm going to have this one on the show, and then just before the show, before you start, how do you feel? Do you feel like an anxiety? Or
yeah, a little bit, to be honest. I mean, like I when we first started, I mean, I goofed up a little line, and just no big deal. Like, everybody knows the show's edited, so nothing's scripted here.
Right.
But at the same time, the show is edited, and if I screw up the intro line, of course I'm just gonna start over because I just said I only said the first 5 words. No big deal.
Right.
If I screw up right now, well, it's kind of probably staying in the show.
Yeah. We'll be here
But,
till
like,
3 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Retake. No. But of course. I mean, but also, just kind of having, it's just, you get in this moment, when you have people, like you in, and everybody's here because we're all talking about things that we're just super passionate about.
Sure.
And just,
and you can tell. You can tell that.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah.
All of us.
And what a cool organic experience for you too.
Yeah. And for me to be able to learn, like, I think I tell everybody, I've learned just from me doing the show, I've learned so much just about everything, other industries, life, everything in general,
Right.
just from having people on the show. So not only are my listeners and viewers learning from you guys and your experiences and your knowledge and all that, but like I'm learning too, because I'm almost just like a listener because I'm sitting here doing a lot of listening, So it's just as valuable for me to be able to have people on the show and just talk about
great.
good stuff.
I mean,
very cool.
But you're very easy. You're very easy at it. I mean, not easy at. What I mean is you're easy to converse with, to do an interview with, to sit and talk. Because the worst thing is to do it, and I've done it. Do interviews with somebody that's like very staid, very
super forced, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
By the book,
and then so you start to. You get tense and clam down.
Yeah,
you feel
you
it's
do.
the energy.
Yeah.
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
The whole thing is to be loose,
Yes.
And what I like
absolutely.
about both you guys, you're younger, a lot younger than me.
Not much, but
Yeah, I don't know.
and to see the passion that you both have, it's great. And to also look at myself and say, I'm so happy that I still have that kind of passion and enthusiasm.
And your energy.
I used to work with, not used to, but entertainers. I've headlined a lot of cruise ships, especially Royal Caribbean. So, and I only do like one night. When I go out and do a cruise, I only do one night's work. That's it. I do 2 shows in a night. I'm done. I'm a passenger.
then you're on vacation.
Exactly. And my wife goes with me. We get a balcony suite, that whole thing. It was
a great
phenomenal.
gig.
It's just great. It's just great. But I love it. But I love just meeting all the passengers after and schmoozing with people. It's what I do, what I love. But I can't stand when I some of the performers I know, it's like, oh, man, I don't know, this audience, and they're like, and I'm thinking, give it up. If that's the way you feel.
Right. Yeah, what are you doing it for?
It's
Why are you
like
doing
they're
it?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
I agree.
Like they're phoning it in.
Right.
I can't stand it. Cruise direct, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm blowing my own horn, but I went on a cruise ship one time. It's happened before, but not like this. So and a comedian friend of mine was backstage, and I was there, and a cruise director was there, and they were talking about performing and being on stage, and so the cruise director looks at the comedian. He says, he says, Bobby Arvon. He said, a lot of acts will say, what's the least I can do to get, before I get off the stage? He said, Arvon comes out and said, how much can I do? How much? And that's, honest to God, that's the truth.
But that's a testament to you then. You could tell that you love your craft, and you've worked hard at it, and it's evident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you bring the energy to the table. Like that's what it is. Like,
hope so.
You bring it to the table, and then the audience, whoever it is, they feel it, and you set the tone.
You said more energy today than I did.
Yeah. I think both of us. Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Well, speaking of energy, I had a person come up to me one time and said, Mr. Arvon, I said, call me Bobby. I'm not Mr. Arvon. I'm Bobby, And they said, okay, Bobby, when do you think you might retire? I said, you just saw that show, did you? I said, did that look like a guy that wants to retire? Are you kidding?
That's great.
No, it's a blast. It's a blast. And, life is good. I have a good family back home in Granada Hills. I have a great family here and great family in Nova Scotia. My wife's family, it's my family now, but we have a bunch of people up there, a bunch of family. I mean, if I put all the families together, it would be incredible.
Yeah.
I'd probably fill our theater.
You probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been a good career. I'm happy about it. I'm still, I'm still chasing it. I'm still after it. My mind says to me, I got to get another record out. I got to write a song that's going to, let's do it. Like, as we were saying to Matei about that song.
Yeah.
And he reminded me, and my wife keeps reminding me, what are you doing sitting with these songs? You got to get them out there. So
Are you going to do it?
Well, I got to get myself, it's not even motivation. I don't know what it is. It's just procrastination.
Yeah. What is it really? Let's. I want to take a moment because like sometimes, obviously, I think what you're holding, in the vault with these songs is a little bit more than just, any other small project. That's not a small project. It's a big undertaking, But what is it really that might be holding you back from releasing it?
Well, it's not even just releasing it. I mean, that's a big step to release it. I know you can put something on Spotify. I haven't tried that yet. I might do that. But years ago when I first started writing songs, and you were signed to a publishing company, or you would bring a song to a publishing company, and the creative director would listen to it, and he would say, "Oh yeah, this is a great song. I think let me." So you'd sign a contract, get in advance for a couple $100 or $500, whatever it was. They take you in the studio. They pay for the demo, not you. That's the first thing a songwriter. I always used to tell younger songwriters, do not. If you have to pay for anything, do not. Make sure you get an advance. If you're going to sign the contract, you get the advance, and you don't pay for anything. Let them pay for the demo, which they did, And then that would be the start. They would run the song, and they would say, "Hey, who's looking? Oh, this one's looking." They go. Today, it's different. I hate to say that because it sounds like I'm an old guy or something, But things are different. They really are. You don't have that kind of concentration anymore. You don't have that guy that gets on the street and runs with the song, goes to Lorenzo and say, "Hey, I got a great song. This guy Bobby Arvon wrote this. It's perfect for you." You don't have that. And I think that holds me back a little bit, but then there are ways, I know people still, and there's ways to get around that, and that's what I want to do. I've got to get that.
You should do that, or I'm stealing that song, and I'm singing it.
Geez, I better make sure I have it copyrighted.
I was just going to say, you better copyright it. I
yeah.
have it on video, and I may play it on piano and take it. Yeah. No,
He was already practicing it before he came. He told me.
Trust me.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you about the show.
Yeah.
What I do in the show.
Yep.
Yes.
So I'm a singer, piano player, songwriter, and they say impressionist too. So here's what I pride myself on having a variety show. I'm not just a guy who sits there and croons and just swings a couple tunes and say, "Hey, here's my song," and I get off. No. I have to get out there, and it's not that it's scripted, but we were talking about this today, and younger talent. It's not just about getting up there and singing some songs. It's about structuring a show, have a place. You go to A to B to C to the end. A big opening, a big closing. In the middle, make sure you don't fill it with. You don't say, "Oh, I got to add something in." You don't do that. You say, "This song is going to be here because it works." This song, oh yeah, this shows another side. So if you come out singing, then all of a sudden you're at the piano. Oh, he plays piano, right? And you do that. Oh, he sings ballads. And then you go to the piano, you're doing a jazz thing. Then you go and you do impressions of different singers. Oh, wow, he's an impressionist. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is not an ego thing. I'm just saying this is how a show gets structured,
Definitely, yeah.
And then you do something else. Then you do an Italian song. And then you do Neil Diamond. Then you do 50s rock and roll, Jerry Lee Lewis at the piano. And then you do Sinatra. So it's a wide range of material. It's not just some guy getting up and saying, "Oh, here's a great song. Ba, ba, ba. There's another great song."
No, you're a storyteller.
Yeah.
You're a storyteller. And your shows, I mean, you can go to YouTube and see it. If you type in Bobby Arvon, you could see his. You could see his some guy, I don't know. You could see his show reel, which is tremendous. I mean, it'll really give you.
You're prejudiced.
What? I'm really not. I mean, the truth. I would tell you if it's not good. I mean, to be honest, of course I would.
You probably wouldn't be putting this together. If,
no, I wouldn't. No, it's I honestly, like, I've watched it a couple of times, and you could see. First of all, obviously, you could see the passion and the love you have for it, but you can tell that he weaves a story. And that's true. A lot of newer artists don't really do that. They just go out there and sing, and they're phenomenal, some of these talents. So you can just rest on the laurels of your voice, which is great.
Yeah.
But when you're going to see a show, when you're paying money, you want to see somebody tell a story. You want to have fun. You want to have the highs. You want to have the lows. You want to have in the middle. You want to have a little comedy. You want to have everything in it. And he really does bring that. And I think that's what everybody's going to see if they go on Sunday, December 4th at 7 p.m. at the KCCA Theater in Kingston, Pennsylvania.
Boom, there it is.
Who are they going to see?
Bobby Arvon.
Who are they going to see?
Bobby Arvon.
I thought you were going to say Ghostbusters.
With Marko Marcinko and the Scranton Jazz Fest Big Band. That's it.
With guest artist Lorenzo Medico.
I may be singing a song, and then I'm lucky enough to sing a duet with this guy. I can't wait to do that. That is going to be probably the high. No, it is. That'll be the highlight of any entertaining I've ever done. I cannot wait to do that.
Stop.
No, I'm serious. That's a dream of mine. So it's going to be
we sang today.
one hell of an experience.
We sang today for the first time. I swear to God, we sang.
It's true.
The two of you?
We were at Andrea's. What's her last name? The music store. I should have written.
Well,
it down.
first of all,
Yeah, this is where the vest, right? This is where the vest comes from.
I believe her name is Boguska. I hope I'm not butchering this, but I believe it's Andrea Boguska. I believe so. In Wilkes-Barre, she's at a music store for many, many years.
Right.
Thank you to the people at PA Live with Chris and Rachel. They were great. They met us this morning.
Yeah.
And I didn't know we were singing, but we ended up singing.
You were playing the piano, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we ended up singing a Christmas song together.
Yeah.
For the first time, we were sang together, and we meshed pretty
Really
well. I have to
felt good.
admit, it
That's
was
the
pretty
truth.
awesome. Yeah, it was a good feeling.
It was interesting, wasn't it?
Yes, that's why I'm looking forward to to sing with you on stage. I can't wait. Yeah,
Same here.
Mm-hmm.
I might even let you do a solo.
Wow. All right. we might be pushing.
So it's getting serious now.
All
huh?
right,
What'd you
maybe
say?
one
Yeah.
solo.
So,
One
Bill,
solo,
do you sing?
I don't.
I'm
I'm sorry.
We could have invited him.
Could have invited him.
Yeah.
You know.
It could have been the perfect trio.
That's right.
You know?
So we walk in, and this is kind of on
Pretty
the
wild,
side
yeah.
wall, and it's hanging there. My wife saw it and said, "Oh my God, that's beautiful. I've never seen anything like that." I mean, it really is interesting. I mean, it really is. And I mean, normally I wouldn't wear something like this, but it's so interesting, So she ended up giving it to me, and I said, "I can't take that, Andrea. I cannot take that. It's beautiful, but I know." She said, "No, I want you to have it." So
It's a really cool moment. Yeah.
That's super cool.
And it's been there for years in her place, like years,
Oh, my
years
God.
and years and years.
that
on the
makes
wall.
me feel worse now.
No, it should make you feel great that
Yeah, I
she's,
guess
she wanted to do that out of the kindness of her heart. She's wonderful. And
So I am going to wear it in the show.
Yeah,
Not
that's
for the whole
awesome.
show.
Yeah.
When I do my Jerry Lee Lewis 50s medley and stuff at the piano,
perfect for
that's
that.
perfect for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
What else can people expect?
Well, the musicians.
Great.
We're going to have some great musicians.
Excellent.
Yeah, excellent musicians. Obviously Bobby's going to be terrific, but you're going to hear some incredible solos. You're going to hear some drum solos.
Yeah.
You're going to hear some great horn work.
Scat singing.
Scat singing. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff. It really is. I mean, I don't want to call it a variety show, but it's close
Sort of.
to a variety
Yeah,
show.
sort of,
You know, you're right. It's not just straight jazz or big band. So expect more.
Sure.
Expect to hopefully maybe there'll be a tear or two in a good way. Maybe there'll be some standing up and clapping along with the music. Maybe they'll be singing along with the music.
Well, that's
what we're hoping for.
Well, that's something that I love to do. I love to interact with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I like to go into the audience and get them involved and have some fun. That's what I'm saying too. It's about fun too. You want to have fun, and I want to turn around and do Unchained Melody or the Italian song that I'm going to do. Serious stuff, but then after that, you got to break out and do some other stuff. Have some fun, And I was telling where was it that I was telling them? Oh, over at was it Tyler? At the
Tyler at the theater.
At the theater
Yeah.
where we're going to perform, and beautiful Steinway Baby Grand. I said, I don't know if I should tell you this, Tyler, but I said I did a show.
Pretty funny.
I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and I said I said, I played the piano and sang, because I play piano in the show. Not everything, but a lot of stuff I play. And so the person who was in charge of the entertainment hired me to do the show. He called me about 3 weeks later, and she said, I just have to tell you this. I said, what? She says, I had a piano tuner in. I said, oh, yeah? And he said, who in the hell played this piano?
He's pretty heavy-handed.
I am really,
Yeah.
no, I really am. I'm very heavy-handed at the piano.
A lot of passion.
A lot of passion.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot in
passion.
there.
I call
Yeah.
myself a thumper.
There you go. Yeah. You should tell him that quick story about what happened to you when you were playing the piano the one time. And you were doing a slide. And
By the
it's
way,
just
it
an
happened-
interesting
it
story.
happened twice,
All right. Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
I'll tell you a couple quick ones. So I'm at the piano and I'm playing. And one of the keys was split, had a little break in the ivory. So I'm playing and I'm just going after it. And then I go like this. I do one of those runs.
Oh, no.
And it nicked me.
Ouch.
Right?
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man. So I continue to play. And all of a sudden, I see blood on the keys.
All throughout the whole piano.
I love it.
Oh, my God.
So now I stopped playing. I don't know if I stopped playing or just said, I need a Band-Aid quick.
While he's performing.
So I'm,
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm figuring the stage crew, somebody's going to come out with a Band-Aid. They didn't come out. I'm still playing. I'm playing. And
Guy's bleeding out over here.
Bleeding out, but still going.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody comes from the audience with a Band-Aid. It was hysterical.
That is
It was
great.
And then the next time you play,
And then-
right?
So the next time I go on stage, the comedian I was working with, he did something. So I go out to the piano, and you have the keys here, and then the wood strip in front, and I go out to play, and I say there was lined up with Band-Aids all.
Just in case.
It's a great comedian.
Just in case.
Just dig right there.
It was
Yeah.
so much. It was so much fun. It's stuff like that. That's the camaraderie that goes on. You could people interact with it. I just don't like entertainers that don't interact with the other entertainers. They're like, oh yeah, I'm cool, man.
Yeah, like they're too good for that or just here to perform and nothing else.
Right.
You know?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good guys, especially on the cruise ships. I've known a lot of these comedians for years and other entertainers, and it's usually a great camaraderie. There are very few that are not. And then, since I only work the one night a week, if they have somebody else on, that I haven't seen, or for instance, I don't know if you guys know who Al Martino was. He was in the
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, he was in
Yes.
The Godfather. And Al was on, and we became friends. He did his show. He became friends. In fact, one or two of the songs I'm doing in this show, his actual he's passed away, rest his soul. His orchestrations, his wife gave them to me to use. She knew I really liked some of his stuff, so I have his actual orchestrations. And and sitting with Al and his wife, we became friends. And the same thing with Red Buttons and some of the older comedians that were on, and there was somebody else I won't mention I didn't like, but that's beside the point.
You can mention it.
Every once in a while.
Why not mention it? Putting him on the
No,
spot.
no. Rita Moreno's
I'm
a
just
talent.
playing.
Rita Moreno's a talented person.
Okay. Wow. All
There
right.
we go.
All right. Yeah, there it is.
Sorry, Rita.
That's all right.
Yeah. So, all right. So I think we got two quick things before we end.
That was bad.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have put that in there.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It was a compliment.
Yeah, but that's right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I heard a compliment.
That's right. I did too.
Yeah. So,
Well, yes, definitely talented.
Yeah.
so Bob, before we end, like, what advice?
Oh no, you mean that's it? You're
we're-
cutting me off?
Soon, yeah. So what advice would you have for us? Well, not that we're that much younger, but
Yes, you are.
what advice would you have for us young guys?
Pursue your dream. Don't give up on it, but also hone it. Know where you want to be, where you want to go, how good you want to be, and you just continue to put the formula together. Keep going, but make sure you have fun doing it. Make sure it's what your passion is, and just keep adding to it, but keep getting better and better, right? It's the same and to you. It applies to you and to
I'm listening to you.
Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're listening.
Yeah.
We're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I'm the student here, not the. Yeah.
you've been around, kid.
I think we're all still students, though.
We're all still students.
We're all still students.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Always learning.
Always
So
learning.
am I.
Always learning.
I'm always learning from something. You know,
Yeah.
it's somebody or something.
We're gonna help you get your music on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
We have,
one
we
last,
have to help them do
one
that.
last
Yeah.
thing. You know, as you get older, you know, too quick. We have time for
Yeah.
too quick. No long story. As you get older, you realize, you know, that you are getting older. You know, so I read an article years back by George Martin, producer of the Beatles, and they said, George, how do you feel? You know, you're getting older now. How do you feel about getting? He said, I get up in the morning, go in the bathroom, look at the mirror, say, hi, Dad, and continue on my day. And you know something? As you get older, I would go in now. I'm like, hey, hi, Dad. But no, it's you know, it's a great feeling to be still doing what I'm doing at my age, because fortunately, you know, if you have good health, you still have the passion, you still have the voice, hopefully, and that's it. That's what you need. Never give up the ship, man. You know, I will never retire. They're gonna have to tear me off the stage.
I love
I
that.
love that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, and that's the truth. I just love being out there. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully, we'll have a blast on Sunday.
I think so.
Are you coming?
I'll be there. I'll be there. I might be.
Yeah.
I might be a little backstage doing, you know, checking some things out. Maybe
Whatever you
making.
wanna do,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
So you got all access. You can do
Yeah.
whatever you want.
You're
Yep.
welcome.
Yeah, I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks.
And to be able to have, you know, that, you know, I'm gonna kind of get both experiences from both
Yeah.
sides of the stage,
Oh,
behind
yeah.
and back. So
Oh, that's right. You're gonna.
so I mean, it'll be it'll be really cool. I'm really looking forward
to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So am I.
That's
really
cool.
looking forward to
I'll
it.
make sure I put my pants on though before you do it.
Yeah, before I come in, right?
Walks in, yeah.
Make sure you're dressed, right?
Just knock.
Yeah. Backstage before I go on, zippers up.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
So Lorenzo, how can our listeners, viewers, you know, if somebody wants to come to the show, what do they need to do?
The best way to do it is go to eventbrite.com, search Bobby Arvon. That's the easiest way to do it. But I mean, there's so many different avenues. You can go on pretty much any social media site, at Lorenzo Medico, at Bobby Arvon, at ARTIC Entertainment, on Facebook, Instagram. Even there's some clips on YouTube, LinkedIn as well. I believe Discover NEPA has it up there as well, and so does the Chamber.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of places that do have it listed right now. But the best way, again, eventbrite.com, search Bobby Arvon. Pretty easy. You get your tickets right there.
Or I'll tell you another way. You just put in the search bar, Eventbrite Bobby Arvon. Comes right
There
up.
it is. Yep,
Yeah.
done.
Find it.
Yep.
Easy.
Yes, sir.
And not the Kirby on the square.
Not
One more
the Kirby
time.
on the Square.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
KCCA Kirby Center Creative Arts in Kingston at Wyoming Seminary.
There it is.
There it is.
Beautiful theater, by the way. Beautiful
It is.
theater.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I've been there
incredible.
before. Yes, it's great.
I promised him I wouldn't destroy the piano.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you don't. It's a 9-foot concert Steinway. So let's just keep let's keep it in good shape.
Yeah.
Man, you mean no standing up on the piano?
No, none of that. By the way, thank you to all our sponsors too. I just want to say that.
Oh,
Thank you
yeah,
to
yeah.
every sponsor, especially Unico of Wilkes-Barre and Victor Alfieri Society, and everybody for posting it all over their social media sites. Thank you very, very, very
Wonderful.
much.
Thank
Yeah.
you all.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
It's been
This
great.
is awesome.
It's been great for me.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure meeting you.
And you as well. Bud.
Awesome.
You
Seriously.
keep doing a great job.
Thank you.
You follow your instincts. I want to see you on national television doing your own show.
I'll do it.
Okay.
You got it.
And guess who's going to be on a guest appearance?
You.
That's right.
And I will even include Lorenzo.
All right.
All right,
I'll,
all
sa-
right,
I'll,
all
sa-
right.
I'll save him a spot too.
I'd rather produce the show, but that's okay. We'll talk about that later. All right.
Yeah. Hey. Either way.
Yep,
Either
either
way.
way. Good stuff.
Yeah. It'll happen.
All right.
All right, gentlemen. All right. Bobby Arvon, Lorenzo Medico on the Stanks podcast in the Blue Door Studio. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you,
Thank
Bill.
you, Bill.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.